one, because the actual formulas we've already kind of done, right? But I'll explain what happens here. On this one, you've got two scenarios where they either borrow the money or they secure financing for the money from another existing or new shareholders. So you can see the difference between, well, what if we don't do anything versus what if we do something? And so the don't expand, the company currently earns $125,000 in net income. Okay, so that's what they're currently doing. That is status quo, 125,000 in expense based on their current equity position, amount of $500,000. The return on equity for don't expand is 25%. Now, if they go out and get a loan for what's the loan for? Planning $200,000 expansion. The company currently will earn, okay, so you add the 62 to the earnings, that gets you the 187. But you do have interest expense on the 200,000, and that's going to be the 200,000. Let's bring this up. Okay, this is where you're going to have to do some calculations. And actually, we can go back to this one. We can copy it, move to the end. So on this one, we'll just take out some of these numbers. The 200,000 still stays. 200,000. How long? It's a 9% note for who knows how long. Annual interest. We'll just make it 360, okay? Because it's an annual interest rate, so we'll make it how much is going to be incurred in a particular period. So that's $18,000. So you already have your calculation here. Okay, so then you have your $18,000 worth of interest expense. So yes, you have $62,000 more in income, but that's offset by the interest that you pay. So you have a net income of $169,500 versus your equity of $500,000 because you borrowed the money, right? You've done debt financing. And so when you take the $169,500 divided by the 500, you get 33.9% return on equity, which is better than do nothing. So yes, definitely expand. But the question is, do you use debt financing or equity financing? Now on the equity side, the increase in income is the same as debt financing because you're adding the 62.5 theoretically. There's no interest expense because you don't pay your shareholder anything, except for maybe some sort of dividend in the future, but it's not guaranteed, right? So when and if you ever do that is up to you. And so your net income is the 187 versus a $200,000 increase in equity, right? And so your return on equity is going to be 187.5 divided by $700,000 to get you 76.8. So the question is, do you go with debt financing or do you go with equity financing? And assuming that you have the wherewithal to pay the interest, to not get out of whack in terms of debt versus equity, your better return is going to be on the debt financing. Okay, but this is just going through that scenario. Let's see what we got.